Welcome to 15 Minutes Consulting Best Practices. My name is Maria Isabel Rios. I am here with David Fields. Hello, David.
Hi, Maria Isabel.
Happy Monday.
And to you.
Thank you. So to start today, if you're listening and you're live, tell us if you have seen your clients start to come back from the holiday rush in the US this year. There was a noticeable slowdown for holidays, and I know in Europe as well, there's always a slowdown. If you see folks have already started coming back, please let us know in the chat, or not. Maybe they haven't. You know how this works by now, hopefully. You send us questions, we answer them. We answer your live questions as much as we can, and we dive right into it. So Deidre, if you can, please pull up the first question. And
I'm going to ask you.
Okay. All right.
Also, if anybody's listening, you should let us know if you have children, if they're back to school. And Daniel says mostly not back yet. I assume that's clients, not children. All right, let's see what the first question is. Expert networks such as AlphaSights and Guidepoint reach out to me, but most times the topics aren't a good fit. Okay, that's interesting. How do I think about whether it's worth trying to win work through them, how to win work, and how to price? And Greg asked that. All right, so expert networks, should you work with them? How do you price them? What do you think, Maria Isabel? What's the advice?
Love this question, especially because we do have a lot of perspective on it. So we're fortunate to partner with some expert networks and have them as clients as well. It is in general a bigger topic than what we can cover today in 15 minutes. However, here are a few highlights, right? Love having projects through an expert network as part of your portfolio, even for our boutique clients. That's generally a good source of learning and a good source of insights into what the market is asking for through folks who are not in your network core. Deep expertise, it is what creates engagement within the expert networks, right? So they will reach out to you more and more accurately and more efficiently if you have deep expertise. So provided you have deep expertise, I'll give you our top 2 best practices. The first one is to treat the network as a client. Think of them in a right side up relationship. Build a relationship with someone who gets to know your practice a little bit better, your area of expertise a little bit better, and that you can go back and forth and problem solve together if you need to. The second piece of advice is to respond really, really quickly. When folks contract through expert networks, they don't have the will to wait a week or 2 weeks to find the perfect candidate. Even if it doesn't take that long, that's not part of their plan. So make sure you respond really quickly. Some of them even have queues that are ordered by, who came in first and had the best fit. So those are the 2 tips. David, what do you think? What else would you add?
So I agree 100%. There's one, as you were saying this, there was a thought I wanted to layer on for folks who are listening live or afterwards. And that is sometimes people who work with expert networks, especially if they're very small, a couple $1 million or below, or solo practitioners, think, well, this is something I'll work out of once I have my own direct clients. But I wouldn't necessarily look at it that way. We have clients that are 5 million, 10 million, 50 million, $20 million that still win business through expert networks and through these platforms because they're just a channel. So I think I would think of them as a useful channel. You don't want all of your business to come from them. But on the other hand, it's nice to have a stream of inquiries and business coming from them, no matter what size the firm. And since Rick Carter just said hi, I'm going to say right back to Rick Carter. And also, looks like some kids are back, and Eric's winning business from, because people are back. To hopefully there were other people in the convention center, or maybe you won business from the owner of the convention center. And Frank's, sorry, go ahead, Maria Isabel.
No, Frank's experience, it matches very well with our own and that of our clients. So good for you, Frank. Keep building that relationship. That is the key to getting more and more business.
Totally agree with that. Totally agree with what you said. Relationships, responsiveness, and don't look down on them. I mean, they're a good channel. All right, great. Outstanding. Let's keep going. What do we have? Deidre, what's next on the questions parade?
Ooh, so David, this question is for you. What advice do you have for finding, contracting, and managing subcontractors to help deliver the projects that I'm proposing and landing in the next month? So Jeff is looking to, expand his team around
all right. Using subcontractors, using non-captured, non-full-time. All right. So first of all, Jeff, congratulations on landing a bunch of projects. Good on you. And I hope you've either landed them or are about to win them all. So congrats on that. Subcontracting. Another really big topic people are asking about today. I'm not going to answer that directly yet. I'll answer it in a moment. The advice I would give you in general, if you are planning on using a subcontractor pool, and again, we have clients that are very large that really rely on subcontractor pools or subcontractors, is build that pool ahead of time. Never walk into a project or prospective project thinking, okay, I'll bring someone on if I win it. Like now is the time or past the time to ensure you have capacity, swing capacity that you can bring online to help you if you have a surge in demand. Let's say you all of a sudden win 3 extra big projects and your team is already tapped out. Make sure you have others already identified. So that's actually my first tip is don't wait. Do it well in advance. Maria Isabel, you wanted to say something on that?
Yes, I wanted to ask you because I think a clarification is perhaps needed.
Okay.
Because they're subcontractors, you're not suggesting folks contract
the
bench. Okay, fair.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. No, but do go out and talk with people. If we brought in this kind of project, would you be interested in working on it?
Right. Fair.
Give me some sense of your skills. Give me some sense of where you've worked. Can I see output? What sort of projects have you done? That you want to have those conversations in advance. But no, you're not going to pay people before you get the project, or else that defeats a lot of the purpose of using swing capacity.
Exactly.
Okay, but let's assume, Jeff, you're landing these projects and you now need to bring folks on. So how do you do that? And I think that you might be asking partly about contracting. For me, the harder part is not the contracting and the paying. It's the ensuring you get good quality and that it works well. So make sure there's absolute clarity around roles and what's inbound versus out of bounds. When I was running the Ascendant Consortium, which I did for years and years and was built off of subcontractors, there were very, very clear boundaries. My subcontractors were not allowed to talk with clients about cost of the project, about the winning the next project, about expanding anywhere, just because that was my role. If there were any challenges, that came to me because I was relationship manager. That was my role. Whatever role you want to set, just make sure it's very clear, especially if you don't want your subcontractors talking about certain things with your client. Also, I would say create templates, especially for delivery. You want to make your delivery as templated as possible. If you are bringing in folks who have not worked with you before, and you want to ensure you are delivering at high quality, then you need to template the results and say, this is what I want the output to look like. Here's how we do it. And onboard them and tell them, here's how we do things. Here's what our expectations are, because they don't know what you're thinking. So you really need to be very explicit. And I would say vet them and treat them like a hire, because it's very much the same thing as a full-time hire. You just spend your time, really think about it. Maybe start with something small first, which you can't do with a hire. Those are some of the tips. That in terms of how to pay them, I would say if that is an issue or someone has that question, let us know about how do you pay subcontractors, and we'll answer that in another one. What do you think, Maria Isabel? Want to add anything on top?
I think we're good for that one. Right. There's a lot more where all of that wealth of information came from. Write to us if you want to know a specific.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. And Eric said, be hyper transparent and just show how much everyone is being paid. Yes, you can do that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Usually there's questions about how much to pay subcontractors. And that if there are people have questions, again, post the questions and we'll let folks know how to decide that. All right, Deidre,
Next.
what do we have? I know you recommend alternatives and proposals. How do I build an alternative? What else should my firm provide? Look, especially if our proposed solution already solves the client's problem. All right. Let's do that. Isabel, you answered that. Can we do this a different way? Can I set you up?
Absolutely.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. So here's what I'd like to do, because we get this all the time, right? With clients like, well, how do I create another alternative? And why would I do it if I have a solution that solves it? All right. So let's play this. You be the consultant.
All right.
And here's the situation. We'll just use situations that come to us. So boutique consulting firm has come to you and they've grown very rapidly over the past couple of years. They're concerned about stabilizing and how do they continue growth. So they'd like a strategic plan to continue growth as a firm, hit that next level. So what would your solution be?
Well, I think the solution starts, much like the person who's asking the question, with the basic kind of what are the building blocks of how do you deliver a strategic plan. And in our case, that includes a firm growth lab, a defining the future kind of module stage, and a develop the strategy stage, right? So those three stages are basic to any time we do a strategic plan. And once you have that, you have kind of the spine, right, of that strategic plan proposal, if you will.
Okay. And will that basic plan solve the client's needs?
Absolutely. So part of the idea with alternatives is each one of them solves the client's needs. And where folks get tripped up, if they're like, well, there's one path, now I need to create two other paths. That's not, that's one way to build alternatives, but that's not the most common way to build alternatives.
Okay, so give me an alternative. We have like 2 minutes. So do you 120 seconds or less, 90 seconds. How would you build alternatives?
So how you build alternatives is you think in terms of how deep and wide you can go. One example, right? There's 14 ways you can build alternatives. In this case, we will start by thinking, okay, say money was no object. What's your favorite phrase there, David, around that? Say the client has $1 million, right?
$1 million to spend with you. Yep.
Right. How would you think about doing this engagement so that they get the most value out of it? So in our case, we would add voice of customer, which means we not only speak with our team, we speak to clients, past, current, folks who said no. That's ideal. We also add benchmarks and look at the competition. What are they doing? How is it relevant? Not because it will guide our strategy, but because it's an interesting point of comparison and reference. We'll do some financial modeling, perhaps, once we have a map laid out for the next few years, or map the initiatives in the plan, and usually establish kind of governance and even detail them. So when you are looking at building alternatives, think of all the things you could add if money was no object, and then start considering which pieces add the most value to your client. And this is an example where we're looking to expand breadth and to expand depth of analysis and planning.
And there you go. So that one of apparently 14 ways that you could build alternatives. Add breadth, add depth. I love that. And somehow we've already eaten up almost our entire 15 minutes for this particular Monday. So for those of you watching either live or on the replay, we have a few requests. One, connect with us. Deidre has put up our links here. We love connecting with consultants, and we have conversations, and it makes it easy to ask us questions. So if you're not connected with Maria Isabel, you're not connected with me, please connect. Second, I'm amazed at how many folks come here, don't actually get our articles, which there's so much really good content in there. And if you subscribe, you're like, well, this is dumb. You can always unsubscribe. And you should make sure to subscribe, because I think you'll like this week's article a lot. The next request is submit questions for next week, info@, LinkedIn Live. And I have one more piece of information for you quickly before you go, which is you can come every week. We were like, how do we get a single link? If you put davidafields.com/Monday Live, just put it in your calendar for every Monday, that link will take you to the current week's whatever we are, live session, Q&A. So just put that in your calendar. And with that, I want to thank you for being here. Marie-Isabel, thank you for doing this with me. Everyone, hope you have a great week. Remember, consulting is not about you. It's about them, your clients and prospects. So give them value, give them kindness, and we will see you next week.
Ciao. Thank you.